Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and I'm going to try talking closer to my mic. I may even consider getting a different one. I actually have been looking a little bit into this, so we'll see. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. I have some that I'm taking a look at, but without further ado, again, right, remember, we're still upvoting our suggestions. You guys can find a link to that in the pinned comment description right down below. And today we're just going to basically do another round, right? I love every, 1 or 2 weeks just throwing one of these videos out because there's so many suggestions that come through the game or I should say on the Discord. And so, as we usually do, we're going to go through these. We're gonna read them. I'll upvote or downvote or abstain. I'll give you my thoughts and my reasonings why, based on the current direction that COD is going in, and at least from my perspective, what I'd like to see. And so I hope you guys enjoy this as always, right? I think this is a great way to kind of go through, sift through some of the feedback pieces, because some of these have a good amount of votes. And it gives us an opportunity to kind of talk about them, talk out the rationale and the logic behind, why we would do something or not. So as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell. And if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description right down below. Honestly, it'd be so much easier if this chair just went down more. Okay, with that in mind, here we go. Let's start, as we usually do, right? We'll start kind of newest to oldest. So first one here, we got a suggestion from Wycian. Says, please add a feature where we can check who is left behind the leftover resources they had taken, so we can give, warn, or judge to them. It's so annoying when people try to take resources that more than they can choose, or at least let our Forley Alliance check it. So I'm going to give a hard no for this one. And the reason I say this is because what you have to consider is there's a lot of players that will, think about all the times someone would gather a tile, right? They'll do it when they wake up in the morning. They'll do it before they go to sleep. This is pretty standard, right? Most people, if you're trying to gather efficiently, you will bring your gatherers back, and then you'll go try and find a full tile to gather before you go to sleep to maximize that downtime. So, what are you? We're going to start punishing everyone that goes to sleep. Now, obviously, the expectation is you're eventually getting to a point, right, as you keep playing, where you will have a large enough Legion capacity to capture a full tile, and then you won't have to worry about it, right? It's really just the beginning and middle stages, right, until you can get 5 marches all at the same Legion capacity. So that way, you can full grab max tiles. But this, as far as a way to kind of shame people or call people out, I mean, honestly, let's just call it what it is, right? It is what it is. This is going to happen. But one of the things that people can do is just try to be as diligent as you can. And if you have gathered from a tile, right? Ideally, you always want to try and go back to that tile to gather. And if you were gathering something overnight, then check it in the morning and gather it. I mean, it's really that simple. Fetty PG says, add Season 1 Legendary Epic Custom Token in Gold Key Chest. I'm somewhat iffy on this one, on why it has to be in the Gold Key Chest. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why adding an explanation, adding a reason, right, explaining why you want it in there is important, right? If it's not in there, what am I, as an example, for the general populace, what are they missing out on? Why do you feel it's important to include this in a gold key chest, right? So again, without me going into detail, the idea here is be detailed in your actual suggestion, right? That helps people figure out if they want to vote for it or not. We have Hackett here, Alliance Keeps. Make the range fixed for all ranged troop types. This would add a bit more strategy to the game and make it easier to position keeps with the placement radius. Adding some hero talents for Alliance keep defense would also be a nice addition. Pt3. Okay, so this is interesting because again, there's a few things here, right? This is my thing. If you're going to make a suggestion, it has to be direct. It has to be these are the specific points that I would like to see changed, or I would like to see added or modified, or a new feature, and this is why. right? When you do things like, adding some hero talents or alliance keep defense would also be a nice addition, right? It's almost kind of like, I'm unsure, right? And you're just kind of throwing it in there, right? Now, if this was just the first line where it's make the ranged fixed for all, or make the keep range fixed for all troop types that are in it, because when you place a keep, there is a circle radius that you can click on, very similar when you click on an alliance flag. And that radius is presumably what we would think is the true range, right? What almost you would imagine it should be, right? Because you click on it, that's the range of the keep. So that is important, right? Because maybe it's one of those things where they say, hey, look, you can only put ranged units in here, right? Or whatever it is, right? As an example, or you can put any units in here, but if it's not ranged, then it's not going to attack from range. Like, you either have to be completely consistent, where you're just going to do a flat range for all troops, even if they're infantry or they're cav, they're still going to hit from range. Or you say, look, we're going to go off of how the game system operates, right? So we'll go, mages have the farthest range, archers have next range, and then if a cavalry unit is up, right, or an infantry unit is up, then they'll take the damage, and then there's counterattack. So it's obviously for those units. So it's just, again, be consistent. I would just say this suggestion needs a little bit more detail. So we're not gonna do yes or no. Patol Mecha says, hello developers, I suggest you for more interesting game to reduce the maximum number of people in the clan to 80, for example, and not 200. With a small number of people in the kingdom, there will be more clans that will fight, and not 2 or 3 clans that all players who have not quit playing are trying to get into. With a decrease in the number of people, proportionally reduce the level for the gift of the clan necessary for its opening. I'm going to say no for this, only because I understand where I understand where this individual is going, right? The assumption is that if we reduce the total number, the max unit of members that could be in an alliance, it will increase the overall amount of alliances, meaning that we'll probably get more fighting. Or not necessarily that we will, right, but that it could happen, right? We could get more fighting. You might have some more sustainability with numbers of alliances, but however, the power levels would be a lot lower. You'd only have 80 people. You also have to think about that, right, where it's, what if you're trying to do behemoths and, you want 60 people to show up to do, your deeper behemoth runs, and you're just not able to get 60. Like, you have to think about that. Your margin of error there is 75%, or 25%, right? You would need 60 out of 80 players to get online to go and attempt some of the deeper stage behemoths, right? So if you have 150 players available, then you only have to find 60 out of those 150, right? If there's a higher chance you'll find that, rather than if you're relying on 60 out of 80 players, right? You have a 20-player window. So again, that's just one example, but I just think this needs to be a little bit more well thought out. But 80, I just think is too low. Like, I think the way that they have the system right now is fine. When it comes to having a few alliances, remember, this is a kingdom builder, so you are going to have alliances that will choose what they want to do whenever they want to do it. And the people that are in those alliances, regardless if one alliance just goes into a kingdom and they just want to basically kill everyone, and that's just going to kill off player activity and player engagement, and therefore alliance activity and engagement, you're going to end up with a few alliances of maybe not 1 or 2 in the end anyways, right? You limiting the amount of member capacity is not going to change that. Then we have a suggestion from Schnizzle. When killing enemy farmers to the load capacity of your troops, you should steal the resources the enemy has gathered to that point. PvP has been a bit lackluster because there are no real incentives. This would at least further incentivize some PvP. Okay, so this individual wants to attack farmers that are gathering to increase PvP activity. And this is me respectfully saying this. You want to attack a player's unit who is gathering resources And the assumption is that when you do that, that is going to what? It's going to now like make that individual mad, and they're going to start sending out more units, and now all of a sudden change up, flip their script, and start engaging in more PvP, right? Like, I mean, just rationally, right? Let's think that out. That is not a guarantee, right? That's a hope. That's wishful thinking. So again, that to me doesn't seem as though that is the most well thought out suggestion when it comes to the reality, right, and the player psychology for why they would be doing that in the first place in an area, right? I mean, maybe some people may do that if they feel that there is, a need for them to, or if they feel ever so engaged. But to say there's no real incentives for PvP, I mean, that's just inaccurate. I mean, you get merits, and those merits you can use to make purchases in your Alliance shop. I mean, it would be cool if they added other types of rewards that you can get from merits. Maybe as an example, at the end of the season, they gave rewards based on who has the most merits, right? Something like that, as an example. Maybe they have an end game merit shop that, like, just something else besides the Alliance shop to use merits on, and maybe that could be something, right? I mean, again, there's other ways to kind of think outside the box. Don't know what that is. Let's do Almighty Banda. Gain artifact experience by using the artifact. I'm going to go X on this one. I just don't know if... Well, this is iffy. It's not that I don't like the idea. I just... You know what? I'm not going to vote. That's where I'm going to go with this, because... I mean, I could understand if you use an artifact over and over again. It's almost kind of like that, the loyalty thing that you do in COD, right? Where you see the unit walking around your city and you give them hearts, right? Like to increase their trust level. It's almost kind of something like that. Like the more often that you use a specific artifact, maybe you build like a trust level, and then once it gets high enough, maybe it'll boost some stats or something to that degree, right? I mean, I could see where that's going. I don't know if that's necessary right now, though, right? So I'm going to abstain on that one. The Mish's Guardian. Hi, it's kind of frustrating to see unfinished nodes. My suggestion, please add history of who... Yeah, I'm just going to do an X on. I'm actually surprised this has as many votes as it does. But this says, please add... We'll read this for full context. Please add history of who gathered here in every nodes, which can only be seen by clan officers, or can be seen public, or they will have a sense... So they will have a sense of responsibility. Honestly, really all you're going to do is alienate people and probably just... make people mad, because you have to think about it. If everyone can see that, or even if officers can, you have to also think about if every alliance can do that, those players potentially can get mass messaged by people. Because think about it, it's not like alliances are coordinating and saying, oh, hey, did you guys reach out to Almighty Banda, this person who already did that? Or maybe Almighty Banda's already got 10 messages from multiple alliances, from multiple officers, because no one's coordinating to confirm, oh, hey, did you already reach out to this person or not? That's annoying. So... yeah, I understand why people want this type of a feature to be in the game, but it really just comes down to just professional courtesy, right? Players should just know, look, if I'm working this node, I need to do my best to finish this node off, right? And most of the time, it's usually just because they don't have enough capacity to finish higher nodes, but they want to gather, right? Well, first off, sometimes they just want to gather from a higher node, and other times they can already finish out like a level 1 tile, so they want to go to a level 2 tile, right? They don't just want to keep doing level 1s over and over again. I mean, there's multiple reasons on why someone's going to go for a node that they can't fully finish. But most of the time, like I said, it's just because they just have a smaller account. They'll get there in time. Please add Gathering Boost membership for 7 days to 1 month. The bonus is 20% of finished nodes, extra RSS, and 5% gathering speed. If the player who leave the nodes unfinished, then it won't count. It has to be finished by the first player who gathered. That's why the history is needed. You know, gathering is boring, but how to make a player keep going back to the game just for gathering. Make special Call of Dragons widget. This is interesting. So this is what I'll say here. I would actually upvote this if it was just that suggestion, if it was just like number 2, right, where something like that, where it's, hey, look, if you finish this node, we'll give you like if you're the player, right, if you're the original player that finishes the node, right, then we'll give you an extra 10% or something, right, of that node, right, to that degree, right? Just like an incentive bonus for finishing the tile. I don't think it should be 20. I think that's a little too high, right? I could see like 5 to 10%. I think would be appropriate. And if it was just that suggestion, I'm 100% on board with that. A suggestion from Hackett: add different kind of alliance towers. For example, 9, limit 1 per alliance. Here is somebody has a Wardrum's tower, which give a small boost to PvP stats if troops are in the radius. Medical tower. This is actually a good idea. I love where Hackett is going here, right? Because you can upgrade the tower to siege tower, and I actually like this. This is pretty cool. So he says medical tower. This is cool. Wardrum is small boost to PvP stats. I imagine that's if you're fighting within range. Gathering tower, which gives boost to gathering of troops in radius. Dude, this guy's really thought some of this stuff out. Medical tower, which slowly recovers slightly wounded troops if in a radius. Watchtower, which could detect cloaked enemy players in a radius. Interesting. Fortified tower, which can force a rally to destroy the fortification, and then it becomes a normal tower. Oh, interesting. Mage tower, which I don't know about the rally one though, right? Just because I like the way that the current system is, where you don't have to rally the flags, but you're kind of on the outside of it. A mage tower, which you could have an alliance artifact to it, and use it. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to upvote this, but I'm going to upvote this with the understanding, with the asterisk here, that I like the Wardrum type thing. I like the medical. I like the gathering. I like the watchtower type idea. I like the idea of just upgrading, being able to upgrade the artifacts to do other things besides just being a siege. Now, even if they didn't do this, I'd be fine with that as well. But I do like this idea from Hackett because it is a little more well thought out. Then we have something from Pt3 again. Hello to those who are adding new heroes to the game, but the bottom line is there are a few places to get golden heads for them. To be honest, in 2 months of the game, even rich players cannot collect the legendary full hero alone. This isn't true. Sorry, that's not accurate. I've seen multiple players that have maxed out. Now, obviously, yeah, if we're talking like the free-to-play ones, I don't know if they've been able to do that in 2 months. But for the ones that they can spend on, right, they definitely can. And I'm assuming this person is probably referring more to the free-to-plays, or from just like the non-spending, or the non-heroes that you can't spend for. Add more events to us where we can get them, or return them to the Goblin store as it was before the last update. You know what? I'm going to go here with a yes. I mean, I imagine that they're going to come out with more events for us to do things in. So, yeah, I'll go with a yes there. Stack the resources boost items. If there is 1 hour left to wood boost, it would be awesome and practical to activate a new 8-hour boost without losing the hour left. I'm actually in favor of this. I think Vincenzo here has a great idea. This is a quality of life update, and it makes a lot of sense. Hackett, make the caves on the map connect to roads like villages. I have ideas for what caves could give. Alliance key points, buff or base key points. Another cool stuff would be to use them like a portal. Oh, interesting. Oh, idea of like going through one cave to use it as a portal to get somewhere else. That's kind of a new mechanic, right? Or like maybe you can build a gate on the map, and maybe like you can just only have 1 or 2 at a time, right? And it's like 2 points that you'd have to, like maybe it's something where like like you could build it, but it has to be on your. Or maybe that could be like an alliance tower upgrade, right? Like you could gate travel between alliance towers if you upgrade it. To something like that. This is the thing. I like the idea. I just wish the idea was a little more generalized. Like I just don't know if caves is the right play for it, right? But what I will say is I like a part of this idea. But just because of that, I'm not going to upvote it because I just don't. I think it just needs to be a little bit more ironed out. Kingta, add kingdom changing system. I started an account and got so far, but realized that my friend were a different kingdom, and now there's no way to get there. creating would be awesome. So this thing, we know they're adding migration. I'm assuming that's what he's referring to. I just wish it was written in that way. Having a button in the Alliance tab to see players who are available to invite, and that you can directly send an invite. I wonder if he's referring to this because like this was something they had in Infinity Kingdom as well. I'm actually okay with this. I just wish this was more detailed out, right? I had reactions to the COD Discord. They did. Also, dudes, yeah, so this is, okay, so this is mine. This is my suggested proposal, right, that we did. Looks like 142 checks, right? So again, if you're seeing this, you're watching this, and you haven't reacted to this, make sure you read it first, and then if you agree with it, right, obviously we'd love to get your vote. And then let's scroll up a little bit more here. So we got please merge S5, right? So these are just the same ones. So like please merge S5, S6. All right, we'll upvote these as well. I mean, it's more or less the same thing. Cruel says last time logged in hours, days, weeks. Again, I'm in favor of this. I just wish this was more detailed, right? Where they said, hey, when I'm looking on my Alliance member list, add a line to their kind of preview card, their member card there, and just like something right below their name. On that rectangular space that says this, because it's more important to be able to see it without having to like do a lot of extra work. You don't want to do multiple clicks to which, in a way where we should just be able to see something publicly. Like Infinity Kingdom, I believe, had this, and it was a great system. So yeah, something like that would be great. I think that's a good idea. Like I said, I just wish there was more details. Almighty Bando, when one Alliance member opens a dark chest with their dark key, let the other members loot the chest without consuming their dark key. If that's a bit too overpowered, maybe expire the quick. Yeah, I mean, again, a little more well thought out here. Do you COD devs or what team decide to have comment? Oh Lord, here we go. Let's go past. Like I said, good afternoon. I would like to offer a KVK system for each season, taking into account the time the servers are released. Season 1, the 2 servers closest in time are moved to the combined map, and not 4, in which the difference is 12 days. This is an imbalance between the players in Season 2, so it kind of goes into that. Let me see. Red Panda Maker, probably Alliance log system is needed to keep track who joins and leaves. I like this. To spot reward, seekers to leechers. Another is the offline mail announce when a player goes off for 4 days in a row. Alliance allows alliances to clean their weight. Again, I think this is good. I would have liked for just a little bit more detail here. Right, because the thing is, remember, when you're explaining something, you have to break it down where it is truly and completely understood, so that way, if the devs do like it and they're like, yeah, this is cool, we could go forward with this, you're basically giving them the starting foundation to like everything they need to know to implement the idea. But as a baseline, I do like this. CXZide, add a status system where friends or alliance mates can see each other's statuses, like online, offline, and other servers. Could be, yeah. I mean, I'm for this. I actually think it's a good idea. Matthias WSKD, urgently add some way to buy the item to reset the talent tree without having to spend gems. I mean, this is factual, right? I mean, in general, what I would really like for them to do is just remove the fact that you have to pay to reset your talent tree. In my opinion, I think it should just be free. It shouldn't cost you anything. You should be able to reset your talent trees whenever you want, and doing it in the moment, right? And then you should be able to already have those presets done. You should be able to look at talent trees for heroes you don't even have unlocked, and you should be able to do presets for heroes you don't have unlocked. And then once you gain those points, it just autofills. Like that's what they really need. They need to add another autofill system for talent, so you can pre-select. Maybe that'll be another suggestion that we'll put in as well. Again, man, I got some great ideas here, folks. Right, and so. I don't want to burn all my fantastic ideas just because I know one of the things I really want to do is try and get a bigger gathering, so that way when we submit, and then obviously coordinating with other creators and other people that have like big Discord, so we can try and get like some group coordination when it comes to submitting suggestions, right? Like ones that we really think, hey, this is great, let's try and push this through. And then when we do it, it's like, bam, 1,000 upvotes. Like that's really what we're aiming for. So many upvotes that it cannot be ignored. Refund CP after the rally gets canceled. I'm iffy here on this, right? Because part of me feels like if you're going to rally someone, you need to commit to the rally, right? if you add a refund option, you can do like a bunch of feint rallies. And the thing is, I see both sides of it, but I like the fact that when you make a decision, that decision will have potential consequences or it won't. And that has to be a strategic element of the game. You have to choose before you do anything if you're going to rally or not. So because of that, I'm going to go X on here. 5 free daily golden keys every day would be nice. Sorry, man. I mean, I see where you're going. Patolmeka said, hello, developers. Could you make a 7-day quest at the beginning of the game with Kriegum seasonal? And it would be desirable that there were not Krega heads, but universal purple heads at the beginning of each season. 100 universal heads would help players to level up their pro. I mean, kind of just taking the thing from Rock in this case. Not that I don't not like it. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I'd be fine if the suggestion was, hey, can you try to do something like this, but in your own way, right? Instead of, just kind of porting over the idea. Like, I guess just porting immediate. I mean, yeah, sure, some ideas are great. And I'm not saying this is bad. I mean, really what this idea is just calling out for is more starting rewards, right? That's kind of the baseline of it. I'm going to abstain on this one. Able the R4s and R5s to add custom text emoji to the whole Alliance's legions. I really wish that this person Inc. went a little bit more in detail with this instead of just kind of giving us the one-liner. That'd be great. Because this is something I might upvote, but I just need some more details. Imonity says, add to total power to make it... Oh, I like this. Yeah, basically just formatting. Again, it would have been nice if this person explained that. Like, yeah, I'm just looking to make a formatting update, right? If you can add this, and then I would have done parentheses, comma, right? Like, you have to understand, like, sometimes you got to spoon feed the information. It has to be so crystal clear that there's not going to be any room for misinterpretation. Players shouldn't be able to TP while being rallied. Honestly, part of me feels like this is okay, right? I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Sure, do I understand that the benefit of not doing that, like maybe you have to take at least the first rally, but then you can TP after? Like, I could see that too. However, I can also see them just leaving it the way it is, right? And, the fact is that it's just about catching people off guard when they're sleeping and they're not active. And obviously, if you destroy all of their territory and they don't have any, then you can rally them. Then you can just keep rallying them back to back anytime you want. And then eventually you're going to catch them. So because of this, I'm going to X. I just don't think that is... I just don't think it's well thought out enough, right, at this time. And I don't necessarily just think there's anything wrong with the current system. Like, you really have to make a compelling argument. Godzilla to restrict top alliances and players from killing the server. Make it so that, aside from daily free healing and RSS healing, also add hospital bed capacity. Once your hospital is full, your troops are dying. It's more realistic. It makes people wary of how they play in the field. Rallies, plunders, etc. If you want more hospital beds, upgrade your herbalist hut hospital. Yeah, I don't know. It's just... Yeah, I mean, okay, do I think there could eventually be something in the game where people are just not... There's just not enough troops that are dying, right? And this is the thing. I do like the idea of dead troops. I think there is some value in it, right? Where you're not just running away with... where every player is just having millions and millions of troops, then it really just kind of comes down to, the hospital game, right? So I get that part of it. However, I would really like to see how this plays out across multiple seasons before maybe something like that is implemented, so we can see what the longevity of the hospital and how that's going to actually integrate, whether it's in favor or not in favor of how PvP is working, before we kind of make that gut check decision. So I'm going to abstain from this one. Almighty Banda, buff Peacekeeper tree would be great if it had reduced CP and able to get extra awards as a more early talent, maybe even add extra damage against behemoths. This is the thing, I have to do some data comparison on the Peacekeeping tree versus other trees for specific heroes. The thing is that you already get reduced CP cost from just staying out on the field, right? And I think the Peacekeeping tree has value already for why you would opt that on a hero that has a peacekeeping tree versus going another one. Obviously, if you want to invest more on the PvE side of your or / development side of the account. So I don't know. I mean, this is the thing, right? If you're going to make a suggestion like this, what you would need to do is the data. You have to look at the peacekeeping tree, look at what the data points are, look at what the percentage increases are, right, and then compare that against other trees. So you have to make a compelling argument. And so because that wasn't made, I'm going to X this. Ad-free daily CP boost, the amount is debatable. I mean, again, a little more detail there would be great. We'll X that. Hold on, I'm running again. My proposal: return rewards for boss monsters. Don't MU5 their buffs, but give people the ability to capture them. Let players develop through the rewards of these bosses. There are a lot of uncaptured bosses on the map, behemoths, and in the game, and free-to-play players need rewards and incentives. Increase the limit for collecting crystals per week, gems from 1,000 to 4. So, I mean, this is the thing, right? There's a lot in here. I wish that these were individual points. Or better, remove it. Don't kill free-to-play with restrictions. Change the strength of the mag grenade after you're trying. Yeah, I mean, there's just too much in here, right? And so because of that, I'm going to X, right? Have some focused points. Dark and what? Oh man, I'm already at 31 minutes. When we remove alliance, please give it time. Don't make it instant, so we will know if they are going to trade or us. I don't know exactly what they're saying. Please give it a time. Don't make it instant. Oh, I see. So I wish this needs to have more detail. I think they're talking about unions, so you got to be more specific here. Kirakun says, adding more details and specific details in the game suggestion I made that will involve Kingdom of Kingdom, aka Server Surplus. I've seen this since happening in another mobile-based game strategy. They call this event known as Blood Invasion. I put a mobile-based strategy game known as the Iron Throne Mobile before Netmobile sold their mobile-based base building game to KX. Anyways, moving on, if there would be a server a Kingdom of Kingdom event, then there should be certain requirements. The reason why I said, okay, got it. So basically, this is just kind of aiding, like wanting a KVK type system in the game. Listen, it's not that I don't agree with adding a KVK system. Like we talked about this on the COD pod, right? Having some type of KVK. Again, I like that. I like the idea of that, right? I think there's value in doing a KVK, having some type of thing where you can build out a home kingdom and then you go. I even proposed, well, if they're going to keep the current system in place, after you do the first merge of 4 kingdoms into one, that is your new home kingdom, right? And then you can start something like a KVK. That would be fine, right? Or they just continue down the path of merging kingdoms, which I don't know how sustainable that will be. I like the idea of them at least doing one merge, right, just because it's different, and that's the way that this game is going in, and that's kind of what has come to be expected. But for something like this, I just think maybe... I don't know. I just think a little bit more detail should be. I mean, this could be something as simple as, hey, let's do KVK. This is what the map should look like. This is how the passes should open. This is what the reward should be. Something like that, right? There's a home kingdom. There's another one that's KVK. Like that to me was actually what I was kind of hoping to read, but it wasn't there. Battle auto fight would be awesome if our Legion enter a new fight automatically instead of doing one by one in the middle. Yeah, I mean it would. I just don't know how you're going to work that. Stop resetting member currency after season reset. I mean, I like that. We should be able to see what artifact champions are wearing when in the artifact giveaway menu. Giveaway menu. I'm confused. I mean, I kind of like this idea, but I just wish there was some more details to where I could better understand without having to read between the lines too much. The season reset should not disband alliance. It should not reset map, fog. Please remove those two. So, like, my suggestion for this, actually, I thought was good, right? Players can opt at the beginning of a new season, and maybe I'll suggest this, where players can opt, and they can either opt to clear all the fog, have all the fog cleared immediately, again, at the beginning of a new season, or they can opt to not clear the fog, right? So if you opt to clear the fog, it'll be removed immediately, but you can't recapture any rewards. Or you opt to leave the fog, and then you can capture the new rewards for that season. Right, so you basically just have to make a choice on what you want to do. I actually think that's a great suggestion and something that I'll probably submit at a later time. Let's R4s kick people who are reinforcing a rally or a stronghold with the wrong troop type. I'd make the game. I'm going to go with yes. I think it's a good suggestion. Dev should make flying cav type. So funny. I'm going to abstain. Good afternoon. I would like the game to reduce the capacity of the players' rally to attack forts and gates. For example, the maximum level would be 1 million because if a large 2 million rally attack the player's city, it will reset in a couple of seconds. And forts level 6 would only require 160k units. So I don't see the point in 2 million rally for one player. For one, you can reduce the number of soldiers in the Isles during the first attack. Actually, 80,000 units in the field, but on average 60,000. Okay. Going to put more context for a suggestion. The reset, the rest are okay. The first suggestion, aka number 1, is adding the Dwarves faction. This is okay, but adding a Lich faction, to be honest, there's no such thing as a Lich, and this person just puts... Okay, I'm moving on. Reborn artifacts and heroes. Is there a way to reborn any old artifacts that we don't use anymore? So this is something I think that they actually added in the update. So I don't know if this was because of Vincenzo's thing, but again, I like this. I think it's a good suggestion. 2 new civilizations, following the thematic pattern, dwarves, which create reset free. But yeah, I mean, there's just too many here, right? Like have an individual suggestion per. Make the announcement. All up of that. Let us view other servers without making an account on that server. Do I like the idea because you were able to do this in Rock? I mean, I do. However, the thing is that with the way that the current seasons are set up, right, you would never be able to view Fog until the Kingdom got to that point. And even in Rock, right, you still had to level up an account to see leaderboards and do a few other things. So, I don't know. I'm just 50-50 on it. Like, I like it because, I'm able to go in there and make accounts, and it helps me with content on that front as well. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of me just thinks, like, it'd be great if they just gave you the option to unfog the, like, just even from Season 1. Right, like even from Season 1 as a brand new account, like just being able, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. It's iffy. I mean, even my suggestion for Season 2, right, is just you can choose if you want to opt to clear all the fog or not. Right. I mean, you can put something in there where like they need to have an account at a certain level, right? Like, because again, you could easily just make a brand new account and then clear all the fog, and whatever. I don't know how impactful it would be, right? Because obviously with the way the gates open, I don't necessarily think it really would be anything that would be too impactful. And, I think when you clear the fog, it's early enough. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm iffy on it. But anyways, that's it for me, man. I'm almost at like 40 minutes here going through all these suggestions. As always, man, I hope you guys enjoy the content here. I love going through community-submitted suggestions. I love giving you guys my opinion, my thoughts, talking them out. I think it's really important so we can try and get a better grasp on the direction the game is going, and then what would we like to see, what would we not like to see, what do we think are good ideas and suggestions. And again, I have my opinions on them, which I like to share. And whether you agree or disagree, I definitely want to hear what you guys think. So let me know in the comments down below. That is going to be it for me on this one. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.